Shout out to our sponsor, Movement Watches.
Get multiple watches in one.
Or in two if you want.
With bands, you can switch out for a whole new look because who needs to buy a whole new watch for every occasion?
John, apparently.
I don't need to buy a new watch.
Get 15% off your entire purchase at mvm2watches.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm John Ressinger.
Sony's knocked it out of the park the last 2 years with their PlayStation Experience event, and this year was set up to be the biggest one of all with a ton of huge trailers and reveals rumored for the show.
Did we get Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, wasn't there.
Destiny 2?
Mm-mm.
Tons of new Death Stranding info.
Well, we know the engine. That's something.
Final Fantasy VII Remake? PS1 classics on PS4, Kingdom Hearts 3, God of War, Spider-Man, Infamous.
Yeah, those are all hard notes. But we got Crash Bandicoot, Last of Us Part 2, and the highlight of the show, Knack 2.
Sure. Whether or not PSX lived up to all your expectations for Sony's 2017 lineup, we've got a roundup of everything you might have missed from the weekend, and lack of bombshell announcement aside, there's actually quite a bit to be excited about in the near future for PlayStation owners.
The biggest piece of news comes from Naughty Dog, who opened and closed Saturday's showcase with the franchise sandwich of Uncharted and The Last of Us Part 2. First, they unveiled Uncharted Lost Legacy, a standalone game that centers around Chloe Fraser, who was first introduced in Uncharted 2.
She'll be working together with Uncharted 4's Nadine Ross to stop a war profiteer from getting his hands on a dangerous Indian artifact, so they're totally not recycling the plot for anything. Interesting enough, Lost Legacy will be both DLC for Uncharted 4 if you have the season pass, or a standalone game if you don't, much like Blood Dragon was to Far Cry 3 or Infamous Festival of Blood. No word yet on how Lost Legacy will be priced, but from the sound of it, shouldn't we expect a $60 title?
No, seems like it'll be a much smaller project. But of course, Naughty Dog's bigger reveal came in the form of The Last of Us Part 2. Woohoo! The trailer for the much-rumored follow-up to Naughty Dog's apocalyptic survival horror game was probably the talk of the show. No, it was definitely the talk of the show, revealing a 19-year-old Ellie who's seen her fair share of violence.
Yeah, the developer was on hand to talk about the game quite a bit following the announcement. According to creative director Neil Druckmann, Ellie will be the main playable character this time around rather than Joel. He also said that Part 2 is a counter to the first game with a very intense story focused on hatred. Helping out with this intense new scenario is Hallie Gross, who also writes for Westworld.
So, that should give you an idea.
Good stuff.
While some fans might be worried about the game continuing the story of Joel and Ellie, because, a lot of people felt like the first game told a complete story and didn't require revisiting, and we're looking forward to potentially seeing maybe other stories taking place in the same world, other angles, that sort of thing. Druckmann said they shared the same fears and wouldn't have started development on a sequel if it wasn't right. Naughty Dog also indicated that The Last of Us Part 2 wasn't meant to be shown until E3 2017, but they wanted people to see what they were working on now so they could get excited.
For forever. Translation, Sony didn't have anything major to close out the show, and we were forced to make a trailer, considering the game wasn't set for a proper reveal until next year, plus Sony's comments that it was still a very early look at the new engine. We probably can't expect The Last of Us Part 2 until 2018 at the earliest.
Another game we'll probably be waiting a while for is Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, which got just a few more details from PSX as well. In a panel on Saturday, Kojima was joined on stage by PS4 architect Mark Cerny and Guerrilla's Herman Hulst to announce that Death Stranding will be using Decima, the same engine powering the frankly gorgeous Horizon Zero Dawn. Remember that road trip that he did last year, was it earlier this year, where he was going around to a bunch of different game companies looking at their tech? Looks like he found his winner.
Cool. We didn't get much more than that, but they did state one of the main strengths of Decima was its ability to handle open world design. So we might be looking at another open world title from Kojima, which worked out pretty well for him in Phantom Pain.
In addition to those titles, we also got trailers for a number of games that will, hopefully be coming a little bit sooner than that. Sony brought out a proper first look at the remastered Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, showcasing the game's updated graphics. Capcom debuted Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, complete with its new MCU emphasis, featuring the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, because you can tell that Marvel's definitely trying to spool up awareness of her outside of their core comic book fans, and even Infinity Stones, plus Mega Man.
After that came trailers for a Wipeout remastered collection for summer 2017, Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Good lord.
I'm excited about
Yeah,
it.
I can
okay?
tell.
I like the first game.
Gran Turismo Sport, Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil 7, Ace Combat, and Knack 2, the sequel nobody asked for.
And if all that seems too far away, the showcase also featured a ton of stuff ready for PlayStation users right now, including new demos for Parappa the Rapper Remastered, Resident Evil 7, and Crash Bandicoot. Now, in addition to those demos, you can also grab full games like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Lara Croft Go, the free-to-play Let It Die, and Surgeon Simulator for PlayStation VR. Because if immersion wasn't enough for you, you have PlayStation VR
Yeah, you can go do
to
yourself.
operate with people on.
So, in all, PSX 2016 was a bit of a mixed bag depending on what you were looking for. Gamers have a ton of stuff to experience right now, and a lot of games to look forward to over the next few months, with Resident Evil in January, Horizon Zero Dawn in February, and Persona 5 in April easily topping the lists.
However, I mean, you do have to wonder what exclusive PlayStation fans should be expecting next holiday season. We don't have a release date for God of War yet, which I know coming out of E3, everyone was very, very excited about, even if we did like calling it Dad of War. Spider-Man or the Final Fantasy VII remake, after all, after a weaker holiday season for Sony this year, it would have been reassuring to have an idea of what we'll be playing at the end of 2017.
That shouldn't necessarily worry fans of PlayStation, however. Hopefully, it just means Sony and others are starting to adapt the type of strategy we've seen from the likes of Bethesda recently, waiting until a game is a few months out before really unveiling it.
And that way we get fewer delays, too.
Yeah.
Just because they relied on the mega huge announcements this weekend doesn't mean there's not a lot to play. It probably just means that we'll see a lot more of it at E3. And it's better to get definitive announcements than, No Man's Sky and Last Guardians anyway.
Yeah. What do you guys think of all the news and game announcements out of PSX 2016? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on all things PlayStation, like this video and subscribe to The Know. Thanks to Movement Watches for sponsoring this update.
Movement watches are made with versatility in mind because you don't want to buy a new watch for every occasion.
Unless you're John. Normal people can just say switch out the pants. If you're wearing brown shoes, you get a brown leather band to go along with it, and bam, watch for every occasion.
Yeah, I got this.
Well, you got two examples.
I got this one, but I like this one. It's got the black face with the red dials and this nice, like, smooth black leather band.
Yeah, that band is more textured, which is over here, which is nice.
It's a little bit more used.
Yeah, we kind of match a little bit because mine's black, but then I've got rose gold.
pretty gold.
Because I'm a lady.
Yeah. Hey, don't do that.
Watches start at $95, but you can get 15% off your entire purchase if you go to mvmtwatches.com/theknow.
They're nice.